I'm going to take a look at dividing fractions. This is going to be dividing fractions. The process for dividing fractions is similar to multiplying fractions. There's just one extra step. The method that I like to use, I didn't invent it, but I like to use it, is called keep, change, and flip. Keep, change, and flip. Let's do an example. If we had, let's use the brush this time. If we had 3/4 divided by 2/3, what on earth would we do? What we'd need to do is keep the first fraction exactly the same. Keep the first fraction exactly the same, the keep. Change the divide sign into a multiply sign. So let's do this. First step, we've got our 3/4. We're going to keep it exactly the same. And we have to keep the first fraction the same, not the second fraction. Change that divide sign into a times sign. And flip. Okay, we're going to need to flip the second fraction. 2/3 is now going to become 3/2. Now I have done a video on how to multiply fractions. All you need to do is multiply the numerator, the top line, and multiply the bottom lines. 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 3/4 divided by 2/3 is actually 9/8. Let's do another example. What if we had 4/9 divided by 1/5? 4/9 divided by 1/5. We need to keep the first fraction the same, so that stays as 4/9. Change that divide into a times, and flip the 1/5 to become a 5/1. Timesing the top lines, because now we have a multiplying fraction, which is a bit easier. We just need to times the top line times the bottom line. 4 times 5 is 20, and 9 times 1 is 9. Now this method may seem somewhat straightforward, but it's quite easy to forget in the heat of battle. So that's why I would urge you to practice and make sure you're familiar with it, the difference between when you need to divide fractions, when you need to times fractions, when you need to add fractions. So a lot of students add when they were meant to times or divide, so it's quite cool to remember that method. When it's a divide, just remember to keep the first fraction the same, change that divide into a times, and then it'll be your favorite multiplying fractions. And then finally you flip the last fraction over. We can do one last final example, perhaps a top-heavy fraction. In other words, 3/2 divided by 2/7. And indeed, we keep the first fraction the same, always. Change that to a times, flip the second fraction over, so it's 7/2, and multiply top and multiply bottom. That top line, 7 times 3 would be 21, 2 times 2 is 4, and there we have our top-heavy answer. That's how to divide fractions.